A black cat does bring bad luck.
An attorney wins an impossible case.
A strange lawsuit is never actually heard.
Can you imagine that? Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Lindsay McHarry speaking to you from my laboratory of amazing news stories, strange facts, and little-known historical incidents. In just a moment or two, my cohorts and I are going to be back with you. And until then, we hope you'll wait for us. How do you react to all the old superstitions that have been kicking around this world of ours for centuries? Are you afraid to walk under a ladder? Do you always knock on wood when telling a piece of good luck? And do you avoid allowing a black cat to walk across your path? Do you know the origin of that particular superstition? Well, in the old days, when people actually believed in witches, it was thought that any witch could change herself into any sort of animal form, and that the favorite animal form of most witches was a black cat. First, because a black cat was difficult to see at night, and second, because a cat had 9 lives, and the witch could make 9 changes without losing her own life. But nowadays, we're not superstitious. Why, who says a black cat brings bad luck?
I do.
You count me in on that, too.
Well, those 2 assenting voices might be W.G. Benton and James E. Spraggins of Atlanta, Georgia. And why are they so emphatic about black cats bringing bad luck? Well, it was on the 16th day of February, 1939, that Mr. Benton and Mr. Spraggins decided...
Sure. That stuff about black cats being bad luck is just a lot of superstition and old wives' tales. Why, there's nothing in it at all. And just to prove it, Jim Spraggins and I are going to take a black cat for a ride in our car. Isn't that right, Jim?
Sure. It's silly to think a little animal like a black cat could do any damage. He can't help it if he's got a color that's supposed to be dismal.
So, hopping in their car with the black kitty going along for the ride, Mr. Benton and Mr. Spraggins defied the tradition of black cats and bad luck stringing along together.
How's the cat, Jim?
Enjoying the ride. Seems to be getting a great kick out of it.
Hey there, look out!
Yes, Mr. Benton and Mr. Spraggins defied bad luck and black cats by taking a sable feline for a ride. The 2 scoffers landed against a pole and later landed in a hospital. And the cat? Well, with a scornful flick of his tail and perhaps a wise leer, he jumped from the wreckage unharmed. Can you imagine that? Whether true or not, or deserved or undeserved, the gypsy has a rather evil reputation when it comes to honesty. In other words, everyone expects the sons and daughters of Romany to be a little light-fingered. Even they themselves have a habit of distrusting each other, which does add color to their already tinted reputations. For when a band of gypsies are entertaining with music or in some other way, they usually pass a bowl to collect money at the end of the performance. Now, here's the odd part. The gypsy to whom is given the honor of making the collection from onlookers is required to hold a live fly in the closed fist of the hand not occupied with the bowl. This effectively prevents him from helping himself to some of the proceeds with his free hand, for when he returns the money to the leader, he must open his fist and show that he still has the fly. If he has, it's a sure sign that he didn't filch a little for himself from the collection, for opening even one finger of a fist in which is enclosed a live fly is a pretty hard thing to do without the fly escaping. Thus do some gypsies protect themselves against themselves. Can you imagine that? Some years ago, a popular song extolled the joys of 10 little fingers and 10 little toes waiting for someone in 1010 Tennessee. Well, from a newspaper of December 3rd, 1910, comes a story of 12 fingers, still in the South, but in Atlanta, Georgia. It was in a court there that Charles Tanner stood trial for larceny, charged with stealing a suit from a pawnbroker known as Uncle. Judge, jury, and courtroom audience listened to the prosecutor question Uncle.
Now, is the man who stole that suit from you sitting in this courtroom?
Sure he is.
Could you point him out to us, Uncle?
Yeah, there he is right there. That man they call Charles Tanner.
You wouldn't mistake him anywhere, would you?
Anybody that steals something from me, I shouldn't mistake in 100 years. That's him.
Thank you, Uncle. That'll be all. Does the defense counsel wish to cross-examine?
Yes, I do, in just a moment. Your Honor, may I speak with my client for a moment before questioning Uncle?
You may, Mr. Dorsey.
Thank you.
Mr. Dorsey, defense counsel, had something up his sleeve. For while Uncle fidgeted on the stand, Mr. Dorsey talked along and earnestly with his client, Charles Tanner, and with another man who sat at their table. And then...
I am ready, Your Honor. Thank you.
Order.
Uncle, you said you could never mistake Mr. Tanner for anyone else. Is that so?
In a million years, I shouldn't call myself a liar. He is the one. He's the one who stole the suit with the plaid. It was marked
Yes, Uncle. Now, let me ask you this. Did you get a good look at his face?
A good look? I shouldn't need a good look.
Oh, you wouldn't need a good look. And why not?
Because the man that stole the suit, I didn't have to look in the face. He had 6 fingers on each hand, 12 altogether.
Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Dorsey.
I should like to ask Mr. Cass Jones Turner to take the stand.
Coming, Mr. Dorsey.
I don't think Mr. Turner need take oath for this, nor need he get on the stand. Mr. Turner, hold up your hand.
Sure.
There you are, gentlemen of the jury. Count them. Mr. Turner also has 6 fingers on each hand.
Your Honor.
Mr. Foreman, what is it?
As foreman of the jury, I say not guilty.
Case against Charles Tanner dismissed.
So came the sudden climax to the trial of Charles Tanner. It seems as though the sight of 24 fingers on 2 men was too much for judge and jury, but just enough for Mr. Tanner and his wily defense counsel, Roy Dorsey. Can you imagine that? And here's another strange case at law. Listen.
In the Supreme Court of the Commonwealth of New York, fall session in the year 1905, Anno Domini, the civil case of Lowe versus Lipkins will now be heard.
But will it be heard? This case is one of the strangest on the records. It seems that Jacques Lowe, a native of Austria living in the United States, was telling his friend William Lipkins, a native of Germany, how his skill in the working of leather and plush had been magnificently recognized by Emperor Franz Joseph following Lowe's exhibit of his work at the Vienna Exposition in 1873. Well, the reaction of William Lipkins to this statement wasn't particularly flattering to Jacques Lowe and his handiwork. As a matter of fact, Lipkins gave Lowe reason to believe that he, Lipkins, doubted that the emperor had ever recognized the leather and plush work of his friend Lowe. This served as the first breach in a long friendship. Perhaps you're wondering why I doubted that this case was ever actually heard. The reason for that doubt lies in the fact that both Lowe and Lipkins were deaf mutes. And therein lies the motivation for the rest of this amazing story. Not long after the first misunderstanding, another deaf mute, Rudolf Janik, arrived from Germany to attend the World's Congress of Deaf Mutes in St. Louis. Just about this time, Jacques Lowe and William Lipkins started rival clubs for those without speech and hearing. Janik, after the convention, tried to join the society founded by Lipkins and was refused membership. Thereupon, Janik and Lowe got together, talked it over, in sign language, of course, and decided that William Lipkins had slandered them and instituted lawsuits. Lipkins countered with suits against each of the others, and this strange chain of circumstances had begun. One of the most surprising angles to this whole story is this. More than 50 witnesses were called to testify, all of them deaf mutes, some of them unable to speak or understand English, so that in order that the court reporter might be able to make a transcript of the proceedings, not only was it necessary to interpret sign language, but also to interpret sign language in German. Can you imagine that? Comes now the time for you to get your Sherlock Holmes cap, your musical dictionary, and go to work finding clues to another musical mystery. You remember the Minute Waltz, composed by Frédéric Chopin? Well, there's a selection from a very famous musical comedy which very closely resembles the middle part of the Minute Waltz. Just in case you've forgotten how that particular part of Chopin's composition goes, here it is again. And while you're listening to it, rack your brains and search your musical memories for the musical comedy that contains a selection very similar to this. Did you get it? Or are are you going to give up so easily? Well, we're not the ones to keep you in breathless suspense, or are you? Nevertheless, listen to Castle of Dreams, the number that charmed everyone when it was played and sung in that colorful, sparkling musical comedy, Irene. Listen to it and see if it doesn't sound like the middle portion of Chopin's Minute Waltz. There you are. That was easy, wasn't it? And now that we've had a little fun with playing musical sleuth, it's time to turn you back to your own station announcer. And until the next time we get together for another session of Can You Imagine That? This is Lindsay McHarry saying goodbye now.
A boy engages in a fight-to-the-death battle with an eagle.
A beggar saves more than $10,000.
An office manager gives his stenographers time for primping.
Can you imagine that? This is Lindsay McCarry bringing you another session of this series in which we hope to surprise you with some odd facts and news stories, just to give you, well, something to think about. We'll be back with the first item in just a moment or two. And here's the first Can You Imagine That squib for this time. I discovered this item in a Chicago newspaper of June 4, 1911, and it might well be taken to heart by many modern business executives. On the day before, A.J. Callahan, then chief clerk of the office of the City Corporation Council, posted this bulletin.
The 10 most competent girls in this office will be allowed to primp for 15 minutes each morning. They will report at 8:45, primp for 15 minutes, and be ready to work at 9 a.m.
Immediately, a flurry of pleasurable excitement ran through the girls of the office, and after due consideration, they posted the following schedule.
8:45, inspect braids. 8:46, straighten puffs. 8:48, fluff hair. 8:49, adjust belt. 8:50, rub face with powder bag.
Which, according to the girls, was the most important item, for it consumed 5 minutes.
8:55, look at the face, head, and hair in mirror. 8:57, examine waist and skirt, smoothing out wrinkles. 8:58, carefully lay away hat. 8:59, hang up coat. 9, get busy.
Remarked a spokeswoman for the girls.
And you needn't laugh either. We are not allowed any more time than is necessary. Ask any married man if his wife can finish primping in 15 minutes.
Explaining his motivation in this rather odd order, said Chief Clerk Callahan.
It's the right kind of pride. The girl who primps is to be commended and not sneered at. Give a girl a chance to primp, a real chance, and she'll do better work all day. The eternal feminine is getting more feminine every day, even if a good many of them are shouting for votes and divided skirts.
But after all, that was in 1911. I wonder how many office girls need a special bulletin allowing them to primp these days. Oh, will progress never cease. Well, here's a news item from Philo, California, in the year 1905, and it's calculated to teach all little boys and girls not to throw rocks at birds. A farm boy named C.D. Estill was plowing, and when he paused for a rest, he noticed a huge eagle in a tree. Unthinkingly, he began throwing stones at the bird, hitting it 2 or 3 times. The eagle at last flew away from the tree and circled high above Estill's head, the boy watching the maneuvers with interest. Suddenly, the monster eagle swooped down toward Estill and hit him a terrific blow with one of its wings. Then, Estill managed to remove a picket from a nearby fence, and by the time the bird was ready for its next attack, Estill was prepared to protect himself. Time after time, the eagle lunged at the boy, finally knocking him to the ground. But all this time, Estill was getting in his innings with the picket, ultimately breaking one of the bird's wings. This so enraged the eagle that it sunk its talons in the boy's arm, and the lad fainted. When he awoke, the eagle was lying dead near the fence, and Estill prepared to spend several unpleasant weeks under the care of a physician. The eagle measured 10 feet from wingtip to wingtip, and its talons were 8 inches long. So, well, boys and girls, let that be a lesson to you. There have been many accounts of hidden fortunes stored away by eccentric mendicants, peculiar beggars to you, for what purpose no one has ever known. For instance, in Philadelphia many years ago, Elizabeth Stork, a beggar, was found dead at the age of 85 years. In a cupboard in her barren room was discovered $500 in cash, and authorities later found that she owned the house in which she lived and the adjoining property, both valued at $6,000. And yet, Elizabeth Stork died of starvation and exposure. Can you imagine that? But here's a case that ended entirely differently, and all too tragically for one of its participants. It was on the 4th day of August, 1926, that a party of sightseers were unfolding themselves from one of those so-called rubberneck buses at Pell Street and the Bowery to explore New York's Chinatown.
Isn't this exciting, Fred? Chinatown.
Sure is. Nothing like it back in Adele.
Fred, listen to me.
Huh? Yeah. Oh, yeah. What is it, Mabel?
That old man there, he's coming right over to you.
Oh, well, he's probably just a beggar. He'll go away.
Listen, mister, I ain't had nothing to eat for 2 days. How about helping an old man to a cup of java? How's about it?
Hey, we're strangers
Hey,
here.
fucking annoying you.
No.
Come on, beat it. Leave my customers alone.
You rich people ought to be ashamed of yourself coming down here this way and refusing to help us poor folk.
I
you ought
told
to be
you to
ashamed
beat
of
it.
yourself.
Now go on, get out of here, will you?
Yeah, I got as much right here as you
I
got.
said to
button
get
on.
out of here.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, I got as much right as you got.
What's going on here? Listen, copper, this mug's been annoying my customers. Not only begging from them, but he's been insulting them, too.
Oh, is that so? Well, come on, you. I'm going to take you in.
No.
Hey, what do you got in that bundle?
No, it's just a bunch of old newspapers. It ain't nothing.
Come on, now,
No,
hand it over.
No, give me that. Give me those.
Why, what?
Money. Paper money. Lots of
Give it to me. Give it to me. Mine. It's mine. I did it.
Go on. Keep your mitts off of this. Come on, Pop. You're going with me now. Come on. Here's one more $500 bill, Captain. It's in the lining of his coat.
That all you got?
Yeah, that's all.
What's your name?
Frank Jacobs.
You married?
No, I live alone.
Address?
Number 60, Scammell Street.
Well, how long have you been collecting this money?
For over 40 years.
How old are you?
I'm 66, I think.
How much is there altogether, Dyer?
$12,385, sir.
All right. Dyer, take him to Lieutenant Reed and have him booked on soliciting arms and interfering with pedestrians.
Yes, sir. Come on, Jake. Come on.
Oak Street Station, Lieutenant Reed speaking. Yes, Ed. Huh? Oh, is that so? Uh-huh. Okay, I'll take care of it right away. This is Lieutenant Reed. Call Patrolman Dyer on the Bowery beat and have him report to Inspector McAuliffe at headquarters right away. Okay. Now get me Inspector McAuliffe. Hello, Inspector. Reed at Oak Street. Say, I'm coming over to see you right away. Yes, sir, it is important. One of our men just brought in a beggar.
You Patrolman Dyer?
Yes, sir.
Dyer, where'd you go after you left Oak Street Station with your prisoner?
Well, I came to headquarters and gave the money to the property clerk.
You sure you came directly to headquarters, Dyer?
Well, no, sir. I did visit a friend of mine on Pennell Street.
Where on Pennell Street?
607.
Come on. Let's take a run over there. Come on, Lieutenant.
Yes, sir.
I want to meet your friend. What's your friend's name, Dyer?
Holt, sir.
Mr. Holt?
Yes? Yes, that's me.
Mind if we come in?
Oh, no, of course not. Come in. Oh, hello, Dyer.
Hello, Bill. Give me that fountain pen I left here a while ago, will you?
Yeah, sure. Sure, right here. Here you are.
I'll take that.
Hey!
That's all right, Bill. This is Inspector McAuliffe.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Look here, Lieutenant. Well, two $500 bills stashed in this pen. What about it, Dyer?
I took them. I didn't think nobody would miss them. I needed the money. I took them. Sure, I took them. I admit.
And so, that simple beginning, wherein a professional beggar accosted a busload of New York sightseers, resulted in revealing him as the wealthiest beggar in the history of the Oak Street Station, and in the arrest of a New York policeman for appropriating $1,000 of Frank's long-saved fortune. Can you imagine that?
For obvious reasons, several of the names and addresses have been changed in the foregoing dramatization. But the facts were exactly as you heard them.
Now, as our musical Can You Imagine That this time, let's do a little more melody sleuthing. First of all, I want you to listen to a portion of Beethoven's Minuet in G. You all remember that, of course, don't you? Well, now, let's change the melodic pattern just slightly at the end of the phrase. And we get, of course, it's that beloved old favorite of war times, the Rose of No Man's Land.
There's a rose that grows on no man's land, and it's wonderful to see. Though it's sprayed with tears, it will live for years in my garden of memory. It's the one that grows, the soldier knows. It's the work of the master's hand. Mid the war's great curse stands the Red Cross nurse. She's the rose of no man's land. I've seen some beautiful flowers grown in life's garden fair. I've spent some wonderful hours lost in their fragrance rare. But I have found one other wondrous beyond compare. There's a rose that grows on no man's land, and it's wonderful to see. Though it's sprayed with tears, it will live for years in my garden of memory. It's the one red rose the soldier knows. It's the work of the master's hand. Mid the war's great curse stands the Red Cross nurse. She's the rose of no man's land.
And there we have it once more, ladies and gentlemen. Another session of Can You Imagine That? We'll return soon on this same station, and until we do, this is Lindsay McCary saying goodbye now.
The ancient Greeks never used napkins.
A man loses a job through mistaken identity.
The man who broke the bank at Monte Carlo really lived.
Can you imagine that? This is Lindsay McCary, ladies and gentlemen, and my gang and I are with you once more to delve into the dusty tomes of ancient annals and the yellowing pages of newspapers to bring you another series of amazing facts. We'll be on the air with the first one in just a minute and a half, so stick around. And now we're ready to present our first item on this session of Can You Imagine That? Let's see what pops up first. Well, here's a juicy little item from the etiquette books of antiquity. If you had been invited to dine at the home of any of the better class of people of ancient Greece, you wouldn't have found a napkin by your place. No napkin. But you would have found small pieces of bread with which you could wipe up a drop or two from a dripping pomegranate or overripe olive. The old Greeks used these little bits of bread exactly the way we use napkins today. The only difference was that in those days they didn't save them nor put them into napkin rings for the next meal. Instead, they just dropped them onto the floor where some of the household pets would pick them up and eat them. And maybe the Greeks had a word for that, too.
Beware the Ides of March. Beware the Ides of March.
That's what the soothsayer said to Julius Caesar. But Can You Imagine That says to you,
beware of mistaken identity.
Must you have a reason? All right, here it is. This little incident happened in 1881 in Burlington, Iowa. On the previous day in January, the legislature had just convened, and the town was rapidly filling with office holders and office seekers. Up in front of one of the leading hotels drove an imposing carriage.
Here you are, sir.
Very well. Here's a dime for your trouble. Just put my trunk on the veranda. I'll carry my portmanteau.
Yes, sir.
A room, please, with bath.
Yes, sir. Register, please. Thank you. Now, shall I have a porter bring your trunk up, sir?
No, I'll find a porter myself.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Your valise will be in your room.
You there.
Yes?
Sir, if you please.
Yes, sir.
My trunk is right here on the veranda. Bring it up to my room.
Oh, right away, sir.
Of course, right away. Room 36.
Yes, sir.
Come. Oh, all right. Now, what do you charge for your services?
25 cents, please.
Very well. Here.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Now, do you know Governor Grimes when you see him?
Oh, very well, sir.
Good. Give him my card and tell him I want an interview at his earliest convenience.
Oh.
Well, why are you staring at that card?
Is this your name?
Of course it's my name.
Permit me. I am Governor Grimes. At your service, sir.
You are Governor Grimes? Oh, my dear sir, I beg of you, please excuse me. 1,000...
Perfectly all right, young man. You may have your interview right this minute.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Yes. I received your letter of application, and I was much impressed by it. I thought you would be well suited to the position you applied for, but, sir, you have just given me a marked quarter worth just 20 cents and not 25 cents. Any man who would cheat a working man out of a measly 5 cents would cheat the public treasury out of much more if he had the chance.
Oh, but Your Excellency,
That is all. Good evening.
Remember that passage from the 16th chapter of Proverbs?
Pride goeth before destruction, and an haughty spirit before a fall.
In these days, when hundreds of thousands of persons are carried at tremendous speed every year throughout the entire world in airplanes, we may forget the intrepid spirits who first took flight in the air. More than 160 years ago, on October 15th, 1778, 𝒆𝒔 climbed into a small basket to which he had attached a smoke-filled bag. He had with him a small smoking stove, which kept the bag above him inflated. At last, everything was ready, and Pialtre gave the signal to cut the ropes holding his strange contraption to the ground. As the last line was severed, this true pioneer of aviation arose and floated in his little basket over his native city of Metz, France. A salute, then, to Jean-François Pialtre, the first human to take flight in a balloon. 15 years later, on September 19, 1783, Joseph Montgomery was a bit more cautious. Instead of going up himself in his balloon, he sent aloft 3 passengers who, when the balloon had descended, were discovered to be alive and well. No record is available of their emotional reactions, for those 3 passengers were a sheep, a duck, and a rooster. Can you imagine that? Well, most of you, of course, have heard at one time or another the famous old song, The Man Who Broke the Bank at Monte Carlo. But did you ever know that the inspiration of that song was not at all the figment of the imagination of Fred Gilbert, who wrote it? No, sir. It's an actual fact. There was a man who broke the bank at Monte Carlo. It was in 1891, in the tiny principality of Monaco, that one day the son of the founder of Monte Carlo, now operating the casino, Camille Blanc, called one of his oldest and most expert croupiers into the dismal basement office.
Sit down, Castange.
Oui, Monsieur Blanc.
Well, he is coming at last.
Really? Who?
This Englishman, Charles H. Wells.
Ah, so he has been fortunate in England. But, well, no one is forever lucky in Monte Carlo. You remember what your revered father used to say? Red wins sometimes. Black wins sometimes. But Blanc always.
Ah, tiens, yes, I know. But I am fearful, Castange. This Monsieur Wells has been too fortunate. He has won too much in several financial ventures. Now he may do the same here. I appoint you grand chef de partie. You will stand by him wherever he is while in the casino. Watch him carefully. Report to me if you notice the slightest indication of trickery. You understand?
Oui, monsieur. I will watch him.
A few days later, Charles H. Wells arrived in Monte Carlo, registered in one of the luxurious hotels, and subsequently made his nonchalantly confident way to the spacious casino. But they were ready for him, or so they thought.
Bonjour, Monsieur Wells, and welcome to the Casino Monte Carlo.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Will you take me to a roulette table, please?
At once, monsieur. This way, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Ah, here's an excellent table, monsieur. Émile is one of our most expert croupiers.
Good.
Place your wagers, please.
I put 750 francs on the double
Number
O.
10 black, please.
The maximum on number 5.
The maximum, monsieur?
Émile, monsieur has said the maximum.
Of course.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Number
five, mon Dieu. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, the same.
Well, on and on went the luck of the amazing Mr. Wells. Around and around spun Dame Fortune's wheel, and always did Mr. Wells win. Whenever he appeared, the croupiers fell into a fit of consternation. His fame sped around the casino until the number of bettors placing wagers on the same number Wells selected had to be limited, greatly to the obvious annoyance of those eliminated. Camille Blanc was so certain that the Englishman's winnings must be the result of some sort of fraud that he set 10 of his best spies to watch Wells night and day. But never could they discover any evidence of collusion. Wells's astounding good fortune was sheer luck. He had no system and played numbers all over the felt-covered table. At last, a few months later, he left Monaco to return to England. But the notoriety that his visit had brought to the casino sent thousands of avid gamblers to the tables. Thousands from all over the world who were bent upon emulating the success of the famed Man Who Broke the Bank at Monte Carlo. If Wells had broken the bank 50 times, the advertising would have been worth the cost. At length, Wells returned, repeated his former success for a time, and then...
Number 9 on the red.
I will too. Number 9 on the red.
All wagers in. All wagers in. Wagers closed.
Number 6, black.
I'll still play 9 on the red.
Yes, so will I. Number 9. I will stay with number 9, too, yes.
Number 10, black.
Well, no matter. I shall still play number 9.
For the last time I will play number 9. I do it.
Number 5, black.
And Charles H. Wells kept on losing. His luck had changed. He turned to his old favorite number 5, lost again, and again, and again. And one day, as the Grand Chef du Parti reported to Camille Blanc that the Englishman had suddenly disappeared, the casino's owner laughed softly as he seemed to hear the spirit of his father, old Francois Blanc, founder of the resort, whisper to him,
"He who breaks the bank today will be broken by the bank tomorrow."
I've just got here through Paris from the sunny southern shore. I to Monte Carlo went just to raise my winter's rent. Dame Fortune smiled upon me as she'd never done before, and I've now such lots of money, I'm a gent. Yes, I've now such lots of money, I'm a gent. As I walked along the bois along with an independent air, you can hear the girls declare he must be a millionaire. You can hear them sigh and wish to die. You can see them wink the other eye at the man who broke the bank at Monte Carlo. I stay indoors till after lunch, and then my daily walk to the great triumphal arch is one grand triumphal march, observed by each observer with the keenness of a hawk. I'm a mass of money, linen, silk, and starch. I'm a mass of money, linen, silk, and starch. As I walked along the bois along with an independent air, you can hear the girls declare he must be a millionaire. You can hear them sigh and wish to die. You can see them wink the other eye at the man who broke the bank at Monte Carlo. As I walked along the bois along with an independent air, you can hear the girls declare he must be a millionaire. You can hear them sigh and wish to die. You can see them wink the other eye at the man that broke the bank at Monte Carlo.
And there you have it, another session of Can You Imagine That? This is Lindsay McCary reminding you that we'll be back again on this same station very soon with another batch of odd facts and hidden human interest news stories. And until then, it's goodbye now.
Tiny babies detect a meteorological disturbance.
$20,000 worth of radium is kicked around New York City.
It's a long way to Tipperary. It was not written as a war song.
Yes, can you imagine that? Those statements should tell you that this is Lindsay McCary back with you on your favorite station with another session of odd facts, news stories, and out-of-the-way information with which to regale you. We'll be back in a minute and a half with the proofs of what we said a moment ago. Until then, wait around, won't you?
Tiny babies detect a meteorological disturbance.
That was the amazing statement that opened this session of Can You Imagine That? And here's the proof. The scene is a baby clinic at Lyon, France. The time, a few minutes before 9:30 o'clock on the evening of April 6, 1936. Two physicians are talking together. Says Dr. Mourican to Dr. Charpentier.
I cannot understand this. All the babies seem so fretful tonight.
Yes, I have noticed that, too. It is as though the weather were extremely warm.
But that is not true, Charpentier. It is a beautiful spring evening.
Oh, well, there is nothing we can do about it. I've examined the babies. There is nothing wrong with them. Nothing physically wrong, perhaps.
Oh, dear. What is it now?
They are all crying. They all started crying at once. What is this?
Come. We must do something about it.
Yes.
Yes, all the infants from 1 to 18 months of age began crying at exactly the same instant. Subsequently, Drs. Mourican and Charpentier, attending the 23rd session of the Hygiene Congress at the Pasteur Institute, reported...
Dr. Charpentier and I discovered that at precisely 9:30 p.m. on that date, a huge mass of air from the North Pole came in direct contact with another large mass of air from the Sahara Desert, directly over Lyon. It is probable that because these two great masses of air originated in different parts of the world, they were electrified differently, thus producing a strange electromagnetic condition which affected the babies both physically and mentally.
Yes, those two French doctors decided that an atmospheric condition unnoticed by adults had caused all the babies in the Lyon clinic to cry at the same moment. Can you imagine that? Have you ever heard of Jenny Muir? No, she's not a famous woman who did something heroic for her country. Neither is she a woman. She was just the monkey mascot of the New York Hook and Ladder Company, number 22. And from a newspaper of January 4, 1910, comes a story that I'm sure will endear Jenny to everyone. It was on that day that the men of Hook and Ladder Company number 22 came back from a 3-alarm fire.
Oh, boy, I'm tired. That last fire was a good one.
Yeah, I'm going to hit the hay.
About 3 hours of sleep will feel pretty good to me.
But they didn't count on Jenny, who watched their return with bright, interested eyes. Soon the firemen were in bed. All was quiet. That is, all except Jenny, who had the run of the firehouse. Suddenly, the dozing firemen were startled to hear...
Hey, that's the alarm, boys.
Yeah. Come on, let's get going. That's the alarm. Let's go, fellas. All right, come on. Wait a minute. Hey, there's no fire. Look.
Huh? Well, I'll be. Jenny, you pesky monk. I'll break your neck turning in an alarm when we're about dead. I'll kill you, you...
Hey, you better get... Now, come on.
Wait. Holy smoke, look. Fire.
Where? Oh, good night. In our own backyard. Jenny was right. Come on, grab those extinguishers. Get going.
Yes, sir. Jenny Muir turned in an alarm, and rightly so, for a pile of rubbish in the backyard of the fireman's own headquarters had caught fire and was well on its way to being a pretty good blaze when bright-eyed, alert little Jenny Muir, the monkey mascot, turned in an alarm and routed her human friends out of bed and out of danger. Can you imagine that? It was on May 9th in the year 1929 that potential death rode the streets in a taxicab, went into a cafe, was kicked around, and finally ended up in the hands of those who could turn its power to the correct usage. It was on that day that Dr. Joseph J. Eller, a skin specialist, and his two companions alighted from a taxicab when they reached their destination, the postgraduate hospital in New York.
Well, say, have you got the satchel?
Satchel? Why, no, I thought you had it.
It's still in that cab, with $20,000 worth of radium.
Holy smoke. Hey, come back.
No, he can't hear you. Our best bet is to telephone the police. Come on.
A frantic search was started for the radium. Then, around midnight, in a restaurant on 27th Street...
Say, boss, I just picked up this satchel. Must have been kicking around here all evening.
Oh, somebody just walked out without it. Wonder what's in it.
Oh, better take a look just in case somebody tries to claim it who don't own it.
Yeah. Oh, never mind. No one's going to come in here tonight anymore. Just put it under the cashier's desk. I'll get here in early morning and then take a look at it. Well, come on.
For one split second, the proprietor of that restaurant was close to tragedy. Who can say what caused him to put the bag aside until morning? And who can say what led his eyes to a certain article in a newspaper, an article that he read...
This satchel contains $20,000 worth of radium. Do not touch radium. Do not open bag because... Hey, that's the bag that was left in my restaurant. I've got to go down there and get it to the police.
And he did. Gingerly, the bag was returned to the hospital, where a physician explained...
If only one of those needles containing radium had been placed in a man's pocket and carried around for only a couple of hours, it would produce a radium ulcer, which, if not cut out cleanly, would result in cancer.
Thus, on that May 9th, 1929, Death rode the streets in a taxicab, went into a restaurant, was kicked around, put aside by the restaurant owner, only after a debate as whether or not to open it, and then returned unopened to the police. I wonder what guardian angels and kindly fates must have stayed the hand of the persons in whose possession the satchel had been during that long day. Now we're going to play a bit of a game, a slight mental diversion of this Can You Imagine That? I'm going to name 4 famous songs which I'm sure you've all heard and probably sung many times. Then I'm going to call on the members of my cast in the studio here to name the war for which each of the songs was written. And you might test the knowledge of these actors by deciding for yourself whether or not they name the right war for each of the songs. Are you ready? Here we go. The first song, Yankee Doodle.
Well, that came from the American Revolution in 1776.
Well, we'll see about that later. The second song is the French national anthem, La Marseillaise.
Oh, that's easy. La Marseillaise was written for the French Revolution in 1789.
Well, here's the third war song. There'll be a hot time in the old town tonight.
Oh, that's easy, Lindsay. That song was composed for the boys who fought during the Spanish-American War.
Very well. Here's the fourth and last song. It's a long, long way to Tipperary.
Well, that's a cinch. Tipperary was written in England for the English Tommies during the World War.
And now let's see how right you are. Or rather, how right you are not. Because you're all wrong.
All wrong? What do you mean?
Yep. None of the 5 songs I named were written for the wars you named. For instance, as we told our audience a little while ago in this series, Yankee Doodle was written during the French and Indian War in 1755, 20 years before the Battle of Lexington. It did become most popular during the Revolution, but the song preceded that war by 2 decades. Another, the member of my cast, said La Marseillaise was written for the French Revolution. That also is untrue. It was written during the French Revolutionary times, on April 24, 1792 to be exact. But its writing was not inspired by the Revolution. On the contrary, it was written and composed by a young captain of engineers in the French Loyalist Army, Claude Joseph Rougy de Lille, at the request of the mayor of Strasbourg to incite the young men of the city to enlist in the army of Louis XVI's futile war against Austria. De Lille himself was a strong royalist, and when in hiding in Paris 2 months after he penned his patriotic hymn, he heard the howling mob of revolutionists from Marseille singing his song. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, but what about there'll be a hot time in the old town tonight?
Oh, I realize, of course, that you associate that song with the Spanish-American War. But it was only adopted by the American soldiers sailing for Cuba in 98. As a matter of fact, in the original title, the article "the" does not appear. The original name was There'll Be a Hot Time in Old Town Tonight. This was written in 1896, 2 years before the Spanish-American War, by Joseph Haydn, a featured entertainer with the famous McIntyre and Heath minstrels, and dedicated to a small town on the Mississippi River, Old Town, Arkansas, when the minstrels played there.
Well, you can't fool me about Tipperary. That certainly was written for the English Tommies during the World War.
And you're wrong, too. Yes, sir, It's a Long, Long Way to Tipperary was written by another Irishman, an entertainer in the music halls of England, Jack Judge, and a friend, Harry Williams. They wrote this famous marching song in 1911, 3 years before the first declaration of war on July 29, 1914. Judge carried his song from one publisher to another, receiving little encouragement until in 1912 the publishing house of 𝒆𝒍'𝒔 and Company accepted it and put it out in sheet music form. But even after its publication, Judge was bitterly disappointed because of the extremely few sales and the discouragingly scanty income he received. Then, in the fall of 1914, some British soldier marching through France toward the Western Front struck up the little-known tune. Others picked it up, and, well, of course, we know how Tipperary spread like the proverbial wildfire throughout the ranks of not only the British Army, but the French forces, too, and then jumped the Atlantic to stir the hearts of Americans. Thus, this thrilling song, remembered now as a marching song of the Great War, was really composed, as so many of its predecessors, several years before the conflict which gave it lasting popularity. Can you imagine that?
Up to mighty London came an Irishman one day. As the streets were paved with gold, sure everyone was gay, singing songs of Piccadilly, Strand, or Leicester Square. Till Paddy got excited, then he shouted to them there, "It's a long way to Tipperary, it's a long way to go. It's a long way to Tipperary, to the sweetest girl I know. Goodbye, Piccadilly, farewell, Leicester Square. It's a long, long way to Tipperary, but my heart's right there." Paddy wrote a letter to his Irish Mario, saying, "Should you not receive it, write and let me know. If I make mistakes in spelling, Molly dear," said he, "remember it's the pen that's bad, don't lay the blame on me. It's a long way to Tipperary, it's a long way to go. It's a long way to Tipperary, to the sweetest girl I know. Goodbye, Piccadilly, farewell, Leicester Square. It's a long, long way to Tipperary, but my heart's right there."
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, another session of Can You Imagine That? Before I leave you in the good care of your own announcer, and until we meet again, this is Lindsay McCarry saying goodbye now.
Mumbo-jumbo is not gibberish.
The ironclad warship was invented in 1592.
At the age of 92, she sprouts teeth.
Can you imagine that? Well, my friends, this is the first of a whole series of little visits we're going to have together during the next few weeks. That is, if you will allow us the pleasure of coming into your homes and chatting with you every now and then. This is Lindsay McCarry talking to you, and my little playmates and I think we've dug up quite a spectacular array of little-known facts and fancies. Some of them not so fancy, but nonetheless amazing. And they're all facts. Yes, indeed. Every one of the statements and dramatizations you're about to hear are, according to all available sources, absolutely true. So, if you'll make yourselves comfortable, we'll be back in a trice. Well, here we are, and our first scene is in the corridor of the General Hospital in Knoxville, Tennessee, April 14, 1938. A couple of nurses are standing by the call board talking to an intern when...
Now, who's that?
Oh, it's 392. Oh, that's Aunt Mary.
Poor old soul. She's so patient. That fall she had about 4 years ago just about laid her up permanently.
Well, I'll go see what she wants.
Say, Lester, when did 364 have his last hypo?
Just 10 minutes ago. I haven't...
Dr. Holmes, come here quickly.
What? Well, I wonder what's happened to Aunt Mary. Come on, Lester, we may need help.
Doctor, Aunt Mary is teething.
What? What are you talking about?
Now, don't you laugh now, young man. Yes, it's true. I'm teething. Look, see here?
Well, I'll be... It is true. She's sprouting a new tooth.
Yes, sir. Old Aunt Mary Rule, 92 years old, was sprouting a new set of teeth. The doctors explained that although it didn't happen very often, such a situation generally was caused by a failure to replace baby teeth in childhood. Can you imagine that? I'll bet there won't be any water under her bridges. Say, I just happened to think. We think our navies are pretty smart. We look at those leviathans of war steaming past, and we marvel at those almost impregnable hulls of steel. But you know, we're not so clever. No, sir, 400 years ago, the Koreans... Oh, but I'm getting ahead of my story here. In the 16th century, Korea was under the control of China. As usual, Japan was looking with envious eyes on anything controlled by her ancient rival, and suddenly invaded the little peninsular country with 300,000 men. Well, China came to the rescue, and during one of the many bloody naval battles, the commander of the Korean Navy, Yi Sun-sin, was standing on the deck of his flagship.
What was that? Lieutenant, what is that sound?
I do not know. It is not thunder.
Fool, I know it is not thunder. Look, there is smoke coming from that Japanese ship.
Ah, Excellency, one of our ships is sinking, and the ships of Japan is no way near it.
I know what they are doing. In a recent battle on land, the Japanese have used strange weapons that shoot small balls of metal into the hearts of our soldiers. Now they are using larger weapons of the same kind to sink our ships. Lieutenant!
Excellency!
Give the command to turn about and return to port. Our ships are faster than those of Japan. We can escape them this time, but we will come back. We will come back.
And come back he did. Yes, sir. Some time later, Yi Sun-sin, commanding a new ship built to his order, sailed into the midst of the Japanese Navy.
Now we shall see. The leading ship of Japan is coming nearer. Soon they will shoot their balls of iron toward us. Then we shall know. Now.
Not my father.
Let me look. We are safe. The ball of iron has only dented our hull. Lieutenant, Give the command to sail full speed into the center of the Japanese. We will win this battle for Korea.
Yes, sir, they did win, too, because Yi Sun Sin had built himself a boat with a wooden hull, but plated on the outside with sheets of iron. And the cannonballs of the Japanese had little effect. Can you imagine that? During that 6-year bloody war, the Japanese used firearms for the first time against a foreign enemy, and Yi Sun Sin invented the first ironclad warship. Say, what's that big African native doing?
Why, he's just giving utterance to a little mumbo-jumbo.
And that's where you're wrong. That's gibberish or jargon. Many people think that that's the meaning of mumbo-jumbo, but it isn't.
Well, Lindsay, what is mumbo-jumbo?
Originally, it was a little tuft or pom-pom worn on the hats of the men of some of the Negro tribes of the western Sudan. And they wore their mumbo-jumbos to frighten their women and keep them under firm discipline. Can you imagine that? Well, here's another little tidbit we dug out of the past. On January 3rd, 1912, Charlie Powers, a clerk in the city of Stockton, California, decided to have himself a time in the big city of San Francisco. Consequently, he spruced himself up, had his hair cut, donned his new shepherd's plaid suit, red tie, and brown shoes with the pearl buttons, and headed for the Bay City aboard the old steamer Pride of the River. There he curled himself up on a berth, but alas, he forgot to lock the door of his cabin. As the boat was docking, Charlie awakened.
Oh, my clothes. My new suit. My new shoes. Oh! Hey, somebody, stop the boat. I've been robbed. My clothes.
Look at that train.
Say, I'll bet he's a stowaway.
Hey, what's going on here?
It's that man, Purser. He's a stowaway.
Oh, a stowaway.
No, I'm no stowaway. Somebody stole my clothes.
Oh, yeah? Likely yarn, fellas. Come on, off the boat with you and quick.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm no stowaway. It's my clothes.
Poor Charlie Powers. His clothes appropriated, he found himself with an old pair of badly worn brogans and the rags of a night of the road. Nothing more. And in the pockets of his stolen suit was all the money he had saved for his holiday. So he made his slow, sorrowful way to the freight yards to catch a ride on the rods.
Say, where you heading, Bo?
Stockton.
Me, too. Come on, here's a string going out in about 10 minutes. Come on, Bo, here's a couple of nice clean rods.
Okay. Say, how do you... Hey!
Jumping catfish, what's eating you?
My clothes. That bum's got my clothes.
Hey, what you doing, Bud? Lay off of me, will
You're
you?
the one that stole my clothes. Give them to me.
Go on, you're daft.
All right, then. I'll take them off of you. Give me those clothes. I picked them.
Out of the crowd that quickly gathered strode a strapping San Francisco policeman. Separating the combatants, he escorted them to the city Bastille, where Charlie Powers retrieved his clothes and some of his money. Wending his homeward way, remarked Charlie with admirable philosophy.
Never again. Stockton's good enough for me.
Can you imagine that? One of the most interesting and enjoyable phases of this series of Can You Imagine That is going to be the revelation of some odd facts concerning some of your favorite musical numbers. Here's the first one. I'm going to ask our quartet to give you about 8 measures of our grand old hymn, In the Garden. As you hear the melody, see whether or not you can associate it with an extremely popular number composed almost 35 years ago.
I come to the garden alone. I come to the garden alone.
Could you hear the similarity in that hymn to an old popular ballad? Well, those 8 bars are identical to the first 8 bars of... Oh, but wait a minute. Listen to this.
They called her frivolous sound, a peculiar sort of a gal.
Yes, friends, it's My Gal Sal, written by Paul Dresser. And poor, big-hearted Paul never lived to know the tremendous enthusiasm with which his last song was later greeted. He was sure it would be fully as successful as his great song, On the Banks of the Wabash, Far Away. But he had loaned so much money to former friends and associates in show business that he couldn't afford to push it, and he died without sharing in its ultimate great popularity. On the front cover of the original song copy, by the way, is a picture of a very attractive young lady. The young lady who first sang My Gal Sal. A young lady whom Dresser so respected that he allowed her to use his name as a stage name. Have you guessed who she was? Yes, it was the famous actress Louise Dresser. Can you imagine that?
They call her frivolous Sal, a peculiar sort of a gal, with a heart that was mellow and all round good fellow was my old pal. Your troubles, sorrows, and care, she was always willing to share. A wild sort of devil, but dead on the level, was my gal pal.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed our first session of Can You Imagine That? And you'll be back the next time we're around to visit you on this same station, won't you? We all hope so. Yes, indeed. And until then, this is Lindsay McHarry bidding you goodbye, which is really just an abbreviation of the warmer farewell, God be with you.
The angel Gabriel is never mentioned in the Bible as the angel of death.
A president of the United States didn't learn to write until the age of 19.
A famous popular song written in New York crossed the Atlantic twice before becoming popular in America.
This is Lindsay McHarry, ladies and gentlemen, back again with my thespian cohorts to present another array of amazing facts and out-of-the-ordinary news stories on another session of Can You Imagine That? We'll return in a moment or two with the first item. Here's a question for those who claim to know the Bible. Where in the good book is the angel Gabriel mentioned as blowing the last trumpet? Give up? Well, the answer is that nowhere in the Bible is the angel Gabriel mentioned as blowing the last trump. Yes, it's true. St. John the Divine, in the Apocalypse, tells of angels sounding trumpets, but he mentions no names. And in St. Paul's first epistle to the Corinthians, chapter 15, verse 52, we read,
We shall all be changed at the last trump. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall all be changed.
But by neither St. John nor St. Paul is the angel Gabriel mentioned as blowing the last trump. As a matter of fact, specific reference to Gabriel are very few in the Scriptures. Then how did the connection arise between Gabriel and the last trumpet? Listen to this legend of northern England.
There is a pack of phantom hounds, Gabriel hounds they are, and they roam the skies. They foretell death by their unearthly howling in the dead of the night. They are the souls of unbaptized children that must roam the skies in phantom shape until the judgment day. On a still night, you may hear them howling in the skies when somebody is about to die. Aye, they are Gabriel's hounds.
There we have an interesting superstition that helps to give the angel Gabriel his connection with the Last Judgment. 2, in the same part of England, the sounds made by certain wild geese in flight at night are known as Gabriel's ratchets. Their honking as they pass swiftly over town and village is likened to the last trump. But nowhere in the Bible is the angel Gabriel mentioned as the angel of death blowing the last call to judgment. Can you imagine that? Here's an amusing little story about the 17th President of the United States, Andrew Johnson. It happened just after Johnson had been elected governor of the state of Tennessee in 1853. The door to his office opens, and a secretary enters.
Oh, yes, John.
Judge Pepper's just arrived, Your Excellency. Wishes to see you.
Pepper? Oh, have him come in right away.
Yes, sir. This way, Judge Pepper.
Andrew. Well, it's good to see you ensconced within these venerable walls.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you. Sit down.
We can't stay but a moment. I just dropped in to make you a presentation of these.
What? A hand-wrought pair of fire tongs and a shovel for my fireplace here. Well, that's wonderful, Judge. Wonderful.
That's right. You know, before I studied law, I used to be a blacksmith.
Yes, Say, you don't mean to tell me you made these tools yourself?
I did just that. And best of luck, Andrew. Well, I must be off. Just took a short recess from court. See you soon again, Andrew.
Goodbye, Judge. Thanks. This is a wonderful gift. Made him with his own hands, huh? Oh, John.
Yes, Your Excellency.
John, I want you to find out for me who Judge Pepper's tailor is.
His tailor, sir?
That's right, and find out what Judge Pepper's measurements are.
His measurements? Yes, sir.
Because if he can give me a present he made with his own hands, I can give him one.
Oh, but Your Excellency, you're not a blacksmith or a carpenter.
No, but I am a tailor.
A tailor?
Yes, a tailor. And I'm going to make Judge Pepper a fine black broadcloth coat with my own hands.
Yes, sir. Sitting cross-legged, tailor style, on his desk in the gubernatorial offices at night, Andrew Johnson, governor of the great state of Tennessee, later to become president of the United States, cut and sewed a broadcloth coat for his friend, Judge W. Pepper. To this day, this very coat rests in the Historical Museum of the state of Tennessee as the only coat of its kind in the world, the only coat ever made by a state governor who was also vice president and president. It was during Johnson's boyhood that he learned the tailoring trade, apprenticed out to a Raleigh, North Carolina tailor, and chained for 6 years to a table and a pair of shears. Another interesting sidelight on Andrew Johnson is this. It wasn't until he married Eliza McCardle, when young Johnson was 19, that he finally learned to write. Can you imagine that? Here, too, are some more glances at odd facts in the lives of American presidents. Franklin Pierce, the 14th president, was born on a Friday, inaugurated on a Friday, and died on a Friday. The next president after Pierce, James Buchanan, was the only one who never married, remaining a bachelor until his death. Another strange fact, Virginia, of course, is known as the mother of presidents. Actually, however, the state of Virginia better look to her laurels, for while 8 presidents claimed Virginia as their birthplace, beginning with U.S. Grant, 7 have been born in Ohio. And can you imagine this? Up to the present writing, only 1 president has been born west of the Mississippi River, the 30th president of the United States, Herbert Clark Hoover, born at West Branch, Iowa. Well, the title of this news story, I've dug up from a newspaper of December 17th, 1903, could well be the strange disappearance of Mr. Holland's new shoes and green gaiters. It seems that Mr. Julius Holland engaged a room at the Great Northern Hotel in Chicago. He just purchased a new pair of patent leather shoes and nice new green gaiters. The next morning, Mr. Holland appeared before the clerk of the hotel, minus shoes. Said he,
Clerk, come here.
Yes, sir?
Now, look here. What kind of a hotel is this? A person goes to bed at night and wakes up in the morning with half his clothing stolen.
Just a minute, Mr. Holland, please. Not so loud.
Well, I don't care how loud I am. I want my new patent leather shoes and my new green gaiters. They were stolen while I slept.
But that's impossible.
Oh, is it? Well, then take a look at my feet. I'm minus shoes.
Just a minute. We'll take care of everything, Mr. Holland. Just a minute.
The house detective was called, and soon he and Mr. Holland were on their way to Holland's room. Once there...
Now, Mr. Holland, we'll see what's what around here. You, took the shoes and gaiters off last night, huh?
Well, certainly. But if I'd known what was going to happen, I'd have slept in them.
Uh-huh. Oh, where'd you put them when you took them off? Near the door?
I did not. I put them in that box over there.
In that box?
Of course. Thought they'd be safe there. But it seems
Mr. Holland, we'll have your shoes and gaiters back in 3 minutes.
Well, I certainly hope so. But how can you be so sure?
Mr. Holland, you did not put your shoes and gaiters in a little box, as you call it. That, Mr. Holland, is not a box, and your shoes and gaiters will be found in the basement, for that little box just happens to be the outlet in this room for the air shaft.
Well, thus did Mr. Julius Holland learn that it is not always wise to fly off the handle nor to criticize without reason. We hope Mr. Holland's brand new shoes and nice green gaiters were only a little soiled after their trip down an air shaft. Several times during this series, you've heard how chance remarks, dropped unintentionally in casual conversation, have led to the writing of some of our most memorable, popular songs. Here's another case. In the early 90s, that famous old New York showman, Tony Pastor, began the importation of English songwriters. He had discovered that those clever British had a certain something in their writing which American lyricists and composers had not yet captured. One of these English writers was Harry Dacker. Shortly after his arrival, he met the dean of American songwriters of the day, William Jerome. And as the two conversed casually...
You're right, of course.
You know, I had another rather startling experience as I came ashore yesterday.
Is that so? What was it, Mr. Dacker?
Well, I suppose it wasn't really anything, but when I went over to the freight counter to arrange for the delivery of my bicycle, I discovered that your American customers required me to pay duty on the thing.
Much?
No, not much, but it was surprising because we don't do that sort of thing on the other side, you know.
Oh, well, you can be glad it wasn't a tandem.
A tandem? Why?
If it had been a bicycle built for two, you'd have paid double duty.
Wait.
Oh, what's the matter?
A bicycle built for two. Mr. Jerome, that's my first American song.
Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer, do. I'm half crazy, all for the love of you. It won't be a stylish marriage, I can't afford a carriage, but you'll look sweet on the seat of a bicycle built for two. It won't be a stylish marriage, I can't afford a carriage, but you'll look sweet on the seat of a bicycle built for two.
Yes, it was that chance remark of William Jerome's that led Harry Dacker to write the now famous Daisy Bell, known to us also, of course, as Bicycle Built for Two. But a more surprising fact lies in the story following its writing. After Daisy Bell had been published in New York, Dacker could persuade no entertainer to use it in his act. All the popular singers of the day shied away from this first American effort of an English songwriter. And so the song which Decker had thought would introduce him to American audiences seemed doomed to ignominious oblivion, until he played it for the then popular Kate Lawrence. She liked it and agreed to use it, but told Decker she was about to sail for England for a series of appearances in the London music halls. Decker released the song for her use, and when Kate Lawrence sang it, it caught on immediately. It became so popular that it was even played at the royal wedding of the Duke of York. Naturally, the news of this smash hit hopped the Atlantic, and New York publishers scrambled for the rights to the new song, only to discover that it was already published and in New York. Thus, Harry Decker's first American song had to cross the Atlantic twice before it became a hit in America. Can you imagine that? Well, now, once more, friends, it's time to turn you over to your own station announcer, and until we meet again, this is Lindsay McCary saying goodbye now.
Girl changes her mind as she changes her stocking.
Denmark celebrates the 4th of July.
A 2,000-year-old aqueduct still carries water.
Can you imagine that? Greetings to you all. This is Lindsay McCary speaking to you, and we're just about ready to present you with another session of Can You Imagine That?, a compilation of strange facts and odd news items. We'll be back with the first one in just a moment or two. And now, here's the first strange quirk in the news of yesteryear. I picked it up from a newspaper of more than 25 years ago, and this is the way it goes. I firmly believe, of course, that every real gentleman worthy of the name will grant any woman her inalienable right to change her mind. But here's a case I discovered in a 1911 newspaper which, well, let's see what happened. It was in the traditional month of weddings, June, that Clyde Rowan of Astoria, Oregon, traveled to Seattle, Washington to claim his bride, Lenora Murphy. As they were on their way toward the minister's home for the celebration of the ceremony...
Oh, Clyde.
What's the matter, honey?
Don't look, but I've got a hole in my stocking.
What? Oh, well, sweetheart, that doesn't matter.
Clyde, I really should go back and change them.
Oh, come on now, Lenora. A little hole like that won't make any difference. Here we are right in front of the minister's house. Come on, dear.
Well, all right then.
Oh, baby doll. Come on, honey. Give me your arm.
No, Clyde, I've got to change my stockings. When I kneel down in front of the minister, I just know that runner will show. Please,
Well. So, Mr. Rowan, this is the happy bride, eh?
Yes, sir. This is Miss Murphy.
Please wait. I'll be right back. Just a few minutes. It won't take me long.
What seems to be the trouble?
Well, you see, she's gone back to change her stockings. She found a hole in one of them.
Is that all? Well, come on inside, then, and we'll wait. She'll be back in a little while.
Inside the minister's home, the two men watched the minutes drag by until...
Pardon me. Yes. Hello? Yes? Oh, yes. He's right here. It's for you, Mr. Rowan. Miss Murphy.
No, thanks. Hello? Yes, honey? Yes, we're... What's that? Oh, but... Yes, I know, but... Oh, now. Oh, but... All right, honey. I mean, Lenora. Bye.
What seems to be the trouble now? When will Miss Murphy be here?
She won't.
What? But your wedding.
There isn't going to be any wedding.
No wedding? But why? What did she say?
She said that while she was changing her stockings, she changed her mind.
And so Lenora Murphy changed her mind with her stockings and called off the wedding. Can you imagine that? Say, did you know that American Independence Day is celebrated officially in far-off Denmark? Yes, sir. Every year on the 4th day of July, thousands of Americans and Danes gather within the boundaries of Rebeld National Park in Jutland, just 15 miles south of Aalborg, the Danish seacoast town from which the Vikings set forth centuries ago to explore the North American continent. Back in 1909, it was the idea of Ivar Kierkegaard, the editor of a Danish magazine published in Racine, Wisconsin, to found an association which would promote an annual reunion of Danish Americans in the motherland. On the 4th day of July of that year, more than 1,000 Danish-born American citizens and many more citizens of Denmark congregated at the capital of Jutland, Aarhus, to celebrate the signing of the American Declaration of Independence. Later, Dr. Max Hanius of Chicago instigated the purchase of 400 acres in the Rebel Hills, and in 1911 this tract was presented to King Christian X as a gift from Danes now living in the United States. A few years after that, a log house called the Lincoln Cabin was constructed entirely from materials imported from America. And on that spot every year, the Stars and Stripes are unfurled to be saluted on American Independence Day by Danes and Americans alike. Can you imagine that? Ladies and gentlemen, are you fond of animal stories? Very well, here's one for you. It was in the middle of an almost intolerably dull Sunday evening at the North Side Police Station of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, February 2nd, 1930 to be exact, that the telephone rang.
North Side Station, Lieutenant Newsteader.
Hey, there's a wolf loose.
Huh?
I'd say there's a timber wolf loose on the street. He's run everybody indoors. He's on Chambers Street right now.
Oh, quit kidding me, will you?
I'm not kidding you. There's a timber wolf loose.
All right. I'll send somebody out. Hey, Cole.
Yes?
Boss.
Yeah?
Somebody called and said there's a wolf loose on Chambers Street. Follow it up.
Right.
Not at all certain they were chasing a wild wolf and not a wild goose. Officer Earl Cole and his partner, Officer Otto Voss, proceeded to Chambers Street. But the telephone message was substantiated when, at 14th and Chambers Streets, they saw pedestrians scurrying into buildings and just ahead of a foaming-mouthed, speeding timber wolf of considerable size. Cole commandeered a gravel truck, leaped in, and took up the chase. Closely on the truck, Voss followed in his police car with sirens shrieking out through the disturbed Sabbath evening. And he was closely followed by two rumbling, clanging streetcars. For 4 blocks, the strange hunting party roared down Chambers Street, and then, with one well-aimed shot, Officer Cole brought the animal down. A few moments later, Officer Voss whipped out his pistol and administered the coup de grace. Upon examination of the timber wolf's feet, police decided that the animal had traveled all the way from the snow-burdened woods of northern Wisconsin in search of food. Can you imagine that? But despite the undoubted peaceful intent with which the wolf began his journey of forage, he did give the citizens of Milwaukee an exciting half hour of high adventure. In Segovia, Spain, the people there get their water supply from the Frio River about 10 miles away, and it comes into their town over an aqueduct that's more than 1,800 years old. The aqueduct is called El Puente del Diablo, the Devil's Bridge. The natives give it that name because it's such a surprising piece of construction. The main span over the valley is 847 yards long, 8 feet wide, and the tallest arch is 95 feet high. It's made of granite, and there isn't any lime or cement in the whole structure. Can you imagine that? Almost 2,000 years old, made without lime or mortar, and the Devil's Bridge is still carrying water to Segovia, just as it did when the town was a Roman pleasure resort in the days of Emperor Trajan. Yeah, that's the signal for our thrilling crime drama. But if you have small children listening right at the moment, don't turn the dial, please, because I'll assure you our conception of crime on Can You Imagine That won't curdle your blood. Here's the first act. The place, Chicago, Illinois. The time, late evening, September 30, 1924. John Strug is bidding his fiancée, Miss Rose Hirsch, a tender farewell.
Well, see you on the morrow, darling.
All right, Johnny. Good night.
Just a moment, please.
John, he has a gun.
What do you want?
Your money, please. All of it. Don't be frightened, miss. Your money, sir.
Yes. Yeah, here it is.
Thank you. Now let me have your address. I'm going to return this money to you tomorrow. You can't imagine the terrific situation I'm in. I've got to have this just tonight.
Well, yeah. Here's my card.
Thank you. Have you car fare to get home?
No, I haven't. I gave you all the money I've got with me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here. Here's 50 cents. Thank you again.
Well, that was the way that footpad went about his nefarious business. Now let's watch another scene more than 5 years later in Los Angeles, California, Sunday, February 2nd, 1930. Mr. 𝒆𝒍'𝒔 turns a corner, suddenly finds himself staring into the muzzles of 2 nasty-looking gats.
Stick 'em up.
Thoroughly surprised and a bit alarmed, Zangmaster throws his hands up involuntarily. One of his hands strikes the thug's gun, knocks it to the pavement.
Hey, look out. He's going to fight. Beat it.
And Mr. Zangmaster once more found himself alone on a quiet Los Angeles street. Can you imagine that? And the motto? Oh, well, all right, we'll say it. Crime doesn't pay. Now for another of our musical oddities, one of those little similarity sessions which we give you on Can You Imagine That from time to time. First of all, I want you to listen to the first few bars of a portion of Edvard Grieg's Peer Gynt Suite, number 1, The Hall of the Mountain King. Now listen to the same strain in waltz tempo. Did you detect any similarity in that part of the Grieg melody played in 3/4 time to one of the most popular modern tunes of a few years ago? No? Well, all right then. Listen to this. which simply adds proof to our claim that history does repeat itself even on Tin Pan Alley. Well, friends, we're bidding you farewell at the end of another session of Can You Imagine That? We'll return soon, though, on this same station, and we'll be expecting you then. This is Lindsay McCarry saying goodbye now.
Two women patch up a 44-year-old quarrel.
The mystery of the death of Chung Ling Soo has never been solved.
Looking glasses are placed on the back of the seats in Westminster Abbey.
Can you imagine that? Once more, my friends, this is Lindsay McCarry speaking to you out of the welter of amazing facts we're about to present to you. We'll return with the first one in a moment or two, and we hope you'll be with us. And now, it's the first one of our presentations of Can You Imagine That items for this session. It's the story of a quarrel which lasted for 44 years, a quarrel which separated two old friends, but it was a quarrel which neither changed the map of the world, nor lifted the crown from the head of a monarch, nor sent nations into armed conflict. It was, as quarrels go, of little consequence, but it is a good yarn, and I think you'll enjoy it. In the year 1864, little Bertha Senn, aged 13, came to work for the Klotz family of Brooklyn. About the same time, 20-year-old Christina Deal also came to work for the Klotz household. 6 years later, they came to a difference of opinion, and Christina quit her job. Well, not much of a story so far, is it? Well, time went on, and Bertha Senn remained as maid to Mrs. Samuel Klotz. And right there, I might remark that the servant problem in the Klotz home ceased to exist, for Bertha Senn remained as maid to Mrs. Klotz for 50 years. Yep, it's true. And on the 1st of May, 1914, the Klotz family gave a party to Bertha upon the occasion of her 63rd birthday, a party attended by 8 grown sons and daughters of the Klotz family whom Bertha had tended as babies. As an added surprise, and what a surprise it must have been to Bertha, the Klotzes invited 70-year-old Christina Deal. Of course, you know the end of the story. Bertha and Christina patched up their 44-year-old quarrel and amused the Klotz household by dancing together a few steps of a dance then coming into popularity, the tango. Can you imagine that? Well, 'tis said that the world pities the man who wears his heart upon his sleeve. Here's a judge who pitied a man who wore his vocation up his sleeve. Away back in 1905, the day after New Year's in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, a passenger train pulls into the Northwestern Depot.
Hey, officer.
Yeah? What's the matter, conductor?
This fellow's just rid in blind baggage.
Oh, is that so now? You better come along with me, young fella. Wait a minute, though. I think I'll be searching you first. Hey, what's this? 2 knives.
Oh, but I can explain that, officer.
Never mind now. You can explain to the judge. Come on.
Escorting his self-assured prisoner to the courthouse, Officer McGinnis enters the courtroom of Judge Nealon and planks down 2 wicked-looking daggers, one about 12 inches and the other about 20 inches long.
There you are, Your Honor. I found these 2 knives on the person of the prisoner here, I did.
You look like a dangerous person. What's your name?
Fred Remke, Your Honor.
Well, Remke, what's the idea of these knives? What do you think you're going to do with them?
Swallow them.
Yes, but don't... What? You were going to swallow them?
Yes, Your Honor. As a matter of fact, I make my living eating knives.
Oh. Well, I'm going to give you a chance to prove your statement, and if you can, I'll let you go. Go ahead. Swallow.
Well, all right. Wait till I open my collar here. There.
Well, I'll be tied. Order.
Ah, that was easy. I do it all the time.
All right, young man. I'll sentence you to a fine of $10 for carrying concealed weapons.
Oh, but, Your Honor,
And sentence suspended. Next case.
The hand is quicker than the eye.
Thus goes the old saying about the dexterity of magicians. And here's another case where it took just that to get 2 magicians out of the clutches of the law. It happened in Barrington, New Jersey. Earl Patman and Bob Hummer, 2 magicians, were on their way home when...
Hey, you 2. Wait a minute.
Yes, sir, officer. What's the trouble?
What are you carrying in that little trunk?
Well, just some of our apparatus.
Well, I'm going to take a look at it.
You see, officer, just apparatus.
Apparatus, huh? I guess this revolver is just apparatus, huh? You guys come along with me.
Oh, now, wait a minute, officer.
Well, you can't run us in like this.
Oh, can't I? Well, that's just exactly what I'm going to do. Come on.
Now, wait a minute.
And protesting against the injustice, the 2 modern magis were led off before the local squire. Once there...
You 2 fellas got a reason for carrying around dangerous weapons?
Look, Your Honor, we use it in a trick.
That's right, Squire. I put a bullet in the gun, and Mr. Hummer here catches it in his teeth when I fire the gun.
I'm not in the mood to be kidded, you fellas. Now, come on. Own up to what you're doing with that revolver.
It's the truth. It's a trick we do.
All right, you 2. If it's a trick, show me.
And show the squire they did. Patman and Hummer gave an impromptu performance of the famous bullet-catching trick for an interested audience of 1. And when it was over, said the squire...
By golly, discharged.
Yeah, and discharged they were. Now, that bullet-catching trick has an amazing and notorious history. Most of us are apt to think of magicians' tricks as being harmless, done by mechanical or manual dexterity. But that one trick has cost more than one magician his life. Can you imagine that? Probably the most famous wizard of the stage to lose his life doing the trick was Chung Ling Soo, born just plain William Robinson, a Scot whose amazing ability to hide his real nationality under the guise of a Chinese wonder worker fooled world-wise newspapermen and even real Chinese. One of Chung Ling Soo's most thrilling tricks was the bullet-catching feat. A real rifle was... But wait, let's go back to the month of March, the year 1918. The place, the stage of the Wood Green Empire Theater in London. On the stage is a colorful, magnificently gowned company. In the center, a dignified, striking Chinese, Chung Ling Soo. He strides to the footlights. His hand is raised. A sudden hush falls upon the house when the audience realizes Chung Ling Soo is about to perform the trick that took London by storm, that set tongues to his praise. Once he glances to the wings. Is he nervous? Does this daringly dangerous stunt fray even his supposedly iron nerves, or... But wait. Listen.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor to perform in my most humble and poor way a feat that has given me most undeserved fame.
I shall endeavor to perform it tonight for your entertainment. The rifle.
The rifle is passed for examination. Eager hands in the audience turn it over and over, hoping to catch the secret, but no secret is found. It's handed back. Once again, Chung Ling Soo speaks.
And for bullets to be marked by any members of this august and honorable audience. The bullets.
The bullets, shockingly real and cold, are passed out. Marked lethal pellets of lead, one of which may... But wait. Again, Chung Ling Soo speaks.
So, the bullets which you have so kindly marked are loaded into the rifle. I take my stand at this side of the stage, while my assistant takes the loaded rifle to the opposite side. Now watch, ladies and gentlemen. I shall endeavor to catch the bullets as they are fired from the gun. Should I fail, then I shall be with my ancestors this night. Ready?
Each member of the audience strains forward. A few ladies in the boxes turn away, their faces pale. Men tighten their jaws, waiting for the roar of the rifle, which can send the magician into eternity. But look, is Chung Ling Soo pale under his makeup? Does he have that terrible premonition that this is his last performance? Or, still more incredible, does he know? Now the stage is set. Chung Ling Soo stands stiff and ready. He adjusts himself to face the uplifted muzzle of the rifle. Then he nods.
Bring down the curtain.
And Chung Ling Soo fell to the floor of the stage, mortally wounded. His last words, ring down the curtain. Today, magicians still wonder whether Chung Ling Soo planned a ghastly and cold-blooded suicide before a crowded theater. To this day, no one knows, for although he pretended to be a Chinese and made up as such, he really had in his personality a strange mixture of Western civilization and the inscrutability of the ageless Orient. Today, we may still ask, did Chung Ling Soo, born William Robinson, kill himself with a trick? Can you imagine that? You wouldn't think that the austere dignity of an English royal coronation would include the placing of looking glasses upon the backs of the seats in Westminster Abbey, would you? Well, it's true. It was during the coronation of George V and Queen Mary that those in charge of the ceremonies decided that too long had the coronets of the peeresses been placed upon those noble heads awry. You'll probably remember that at the moment the Queen's crown is placed upon her head, the peeresses of England place their coronets on their heads. And so, to guarantee even more dignity, a mirror was placed in front of each seat to be occupied by a peeress, thus enabling each noblewoman to get her coronet on straight. Can you imagine that? Well, here's the story of another old-time musical favorite, and how it came to be composed. It was a good many years ago that Charlie Daniels, a young composer and musician, was traveling by railroad train to complete a most important mission. He was going to visit a young lady in a small town named Hiawatha. As the train sped on across the Midwest, the click of the wheels on the rails set up a sort of sympathetic rhythm in the brain of the young man. Clickety-click, 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 Hiawatha, Hiawatha, Hiawatha. Gradually, out of the even, sharp, rhythmic beats, a melody began forming itself. A melody Daniels knew he was destined to write in commemoration of this journey. At last, the entire song had written itself within Daniels' mind, and a few months later, the whole country was singing and dancing to it.
Decide and say you'll be my Indian bride. I am your own, your Hiawatha brave. My heart is yours, you know. Dear one, I love you so. Oh, Minnehaha, gentle may decide. Decide and say you'll be my Indian bride.
Daniels, later known professionally as Neil Moray, discovered that people just weren't interested then in a song about a town of Hiawatha, so he changed the lyrics to those you've just heard. But it was from the click of the train wheels on the sections of track that Charlie Daniels procured his rhythm. Can you imagine that? And that, friends, brings us to the close of another session of this series, but we'll be back with you again soon on this same station. And until then, this is Lindsay McHarry saying goodbye now.
wars of the 20th century were prophesied in 1788.
Carnival does not mean a celebration.
An orchestra uses 2 cannons for bass.
Can you imagine that? This is Lindsay McCary back with another gathering of out-of-the-way news articles and facts with which to make you say, can you imagine that? And until we all return in 1 minute and a half, we hope you'll be waiting. You've heard many warnings during the past years to keep yourself on the lookout for con men and women, confidence operators whose nefarious vocation comprises the bilking of unsuspecting victims out of as much money as they can bilk. Modern police methods and radio have probably done more to reduce the number of victims of con games than anything else during the past few years. But time was when these gentle grafters really plied their trade with a vengeance. For instance, I ran across a situation that occurred in San Francisco in the month of March 1917. One day in police headquarters.
Okay. Who's next here?
I'm next.
I've got it. Now, wait a minute. One at a time. All right, you. What's your trouble?
Me, I'm a losing money. This man, he come to
now,
my
wait
store.
a minute. What's your name?
Abella. John Abella. This man, he's a come into my fruit store on a Santa Barbara Avenue. He's a come in on a Wednesday. He's a buy $1.05 worth of a fruit. And he's a give me a check. This is a check right here.
Yeah.
He's a give me this check for $19.75. Now, I look into my money drawer, and I've got $8.70 of cash. He says, that's all right. I come back tomorrow for out of $10. Then he's a go away. I think to myself, he's a fine fella. He's a very nice man. He trusts Abella for $10. He's a nice fella.
Yeah. You sent the check to the bank, and it came back marked insufficient funds. Is that it?
Yeah, sure. That's it. That's what happened. Now, I want you to find this man and get my money.
Okay, we'll see what we can do. Now, what's your trouble?
I'll tell you, Sergeant, I want you to find a gypsy for me.
A gypsy?
Yeah, you see, a couple of months ago, I went to this gypsy fortune teller up on Howard Street, and she told me that I was going to have a run of good luck, and that pretty soon, in about 8 weeks, I was going to get married, inherit $500, and get established in business. She told me I should leave all my valuables with her for safekeeping.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I gave her my gold watch and my purse.
Well, how much was in the purse?
$225. Well, I went back 8 weeks later, and she was gone.
Yeah, and I thought she would be. All right, what's your name and where do you live?
My name is Gus Harris, and I live at a 49...
Can you imagine that? Poor Gus Harris and John Abella reported their losses in the same police headquarters in San Francisco on the same day. I think it's probably safe to assume that John Abella posted a sign in his fruit store reading, "No checks cashed," and that Gus Harris assiduously avoided any future contact with gypsy fortune tellers. Well, that certainly sounds like someone is having a high time, doesn't it? In fact, it sounds like a carnival. And just what do you think of when someone mentions the word carnival? Of course, you think of gay revelry, of mysterious masked and glamorous ladies whose eyes shine laughingly through the holes in their masks. You think of streamers of colorful serpentine streaming from windows, showers of confetti getting into your mouth and eyes. But do you know what the word actually means? Well, it comes from 2 Latin words. The first is carne, meaning meat. The second is vale, meaning farewell. Literally, then, carnival means farewell to meat. Carnival was first used to denote the days of merrymaking, feasting, and general hilarity that preceded the Lenten fast days. It was a period when the people let off steam in a riot of fun and frolic that had to last them through the 40 days of self-denial and reverent living before Easter. The famous New Orleans Mardi Gras is exactly the same thing, for it precedes the period of Lent. Today, of course, we use the word carnival for any celebration where costumes are worn. So just remember that when you say you are going to a carnival, that what you really say is that you are going to a farewell-to-meet party. Can you imagine that? Our next little item we submit as neither for nor against soothsaying, fortune-telling, nor astrology. I'm going to report it just as I read it. It was in October of 1937 that Maurice 𝒆𝒔, the French seer, cast the horoscope for the year 1938. Among other things, he said, and mind you, he said this in October of 1937.
It's in the stars. I can read them and tell you the future. And what I see for 1938 is baleful, evil. For here I can read the signs that tell of disaster. In particular, do I read a sad fate for the nation, Austria. I see her lost her independence in 1938 during the first quarter of the year. On March the 14th of next year, 1938, she will have reached the climax of her affairs. She will no longer exist as a nation.
Thus wrote the French seer Maurice 𝒆𝒔 in October 1937. And on March 14 of the year 1938, Hitler's troops and Adolf Hitler himself marched into Vienna. Can you imagine that? But that isn't all I've dug up in the way of prophecy. Kept in the Viennese University Library under the catalog number I246341 is a little booklet or brochure. It is mellowed and yellow with age, for it was first published in the year 1788. A Polish monk was the author. Well can we imagine the old monk gazing out into the limitless expanse of the sky, watching the stars flicker, his senses attuned to some weird, mysterious influence. At his feet sits a neophyte, listening in breathless wonder as he hears the voice of the old monk, deep, vibrant, calling off the prophecies he has seen.
My son, there will come to pass many things. I see in the year 1793, I see a man who was once a king mounting a scaffold to feel the merciless cold knife of an instrument of execution. His name is Louis the 16th of France.
But, Father, how can you see those things when this is but 1788?
I know not, except that it is given to me to tell. Then I see a bloody war between France and Austria in 1805. Then I see plague sweeping all Europe. I see carts and tumbrils carrying away the dead. That will be in 1889.
And then what, Father, after that?
My son, be glad you live now. Be glad that God has not given you life in the 20th century, for that will be the accursed century when brother shall kill brother, when terror shall reign from the skies and sweep all the earth, when men shall kill, never satisfied, until they have driven each other like beasts of the field into savagery and bloody agony. God help them.
Father, tell me, does your prophecy see no peace at all?
Someday, man will know that to kill and make war is not to correct the ills and evils of the world, but that he shall not learn until far into the 20th century, until the year 1986.
Thus, in the year 1788, wrote and prophesied an old Polish monk in the Salem Monastery. He foretold the murder of King Gustav III of Sweden. He prophesied the partition of his own country, Poland, in 1793 by Prussia and Russia, the French revolutions of 1830 and 1848, the burning of Moscow in 1812. Well, we leave it to you. Was the old monk astute and politically shrewd enough to realize cause and effect upon the human race? Were his prophecies based on cold calculations arrived at through a brilliant deduction? Did he base future happenings on the happenings of the past? Or did the stars whisper these things to him as he gazed up at the inscrutable sky? At any rate, in 1788, he accurately and positively foretold the future. Can you imagine that? Now for our sally into the musical world for this part of Can You Imagine That? This time I've dug up a novelty which I think will amuse you. It doesn't have to do with the writing of a certain song, nor does it concern itself with how a popular song may sound like one of the classics. Instead, it's all about a house party and a housewarming that was given by Mr. Jacob Lease at Yerba Buena, California, on July 4th, 1836. The details were very kindly furnished to me by the Bancroft Library of the University of California at Berkeley. Mr. Lease hurried the building of his house, which was one of the first two to be erected at Yerba Buena, and helped to form the beginning of the city of San Francisco. To the housewarming were invited the most prominent families. To it came the stately Spanish Dons, the Castro family, the Martinez, and the famous Mexican general, N.G. Vallejo. In gay, colorful costumes they came. They marveled at Mr. Lease's house, which the records say was 60 feet long and 25 feet broad. And in those 1836 days, it was a very giant of a structure. But I guess you're wondering where the musical portion comes in. Well, it seems that Mr. Lease's partner, Captain Hinckley, commanded the American bark Don Quixote, which was lying at anchor in the cove. The men from the bark came ashore, and with them they brought an orchestra. Where did they get the orchestra? That's easy. Captain Hinckley had a passion for dulcet sounds, and he always carried an orchestra with him that consisted of a clarinet, a flute, a violin, a drum, a fife, and a bugle. It was possibly the most stylish orchestra ever heard in California up to that time. But to make it even more imposing, Captain Hinckley borrowed 2 small 6-pound cannons from the Presidio to form the bass. Can you imagine that? Now, it puzzled us no little to try to find out just what piece it would be that required 2 6-pound cannons for the bass. We weren't able to find out, but we've used our imaginations, and we've concocted what we think is a good imitation of that early Yerba Buena orchestra playing, well, you listen and see if we haven't made a good choice of a number. Yes, sir. Pop Goes the Weasel does seem the logical song to need 6-pound cannons for its bass. Well, now it seems time has come for me to turn you over to your own announcer, and until we see you again soon. Until then, this is Lindsay McCary saying goodbye now.